Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today's story begins quietly, almost unnoticed, with a small copper-colored coin that millions of people once carried without a second thought. It jingled in pockets, rolled across shop counters, and rested forgotten in jars. Yet behind this humble appearance lies a fascinating story of modern Britain, royal legacy, hidden rarity, and collector obsession. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2009, a coin that proves that even the most recent history can become a legend. The year 2009 was a time of transition for the United Kingdom. The world was recovering from a global financial crisis, technology was reshaping daily life, and Britain itself was redefining its identity in a rapidly changing world. In the midst of this transformation, the Royal Mint continued its centuries-old tradition of striking coins that reflected stability, heritage, and continuity. Among them was the 1 penny coin, a denomination often overlooked but deeply symbolic. For generations, the penny had represented the foundation of British currency, and in 2009, it carried forward that legacy into the modern era. At first glance, the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2009 looks simple, even ordinary. But that simplicity is deceptive. The coin tells a story through every detail, starting with its warm copper-plated steel surface. Unlike older bronze pennies, this modern penny was produced using a steel core plated with copper, a decision driven by rising metal costs and economic practicality. This change alone places the 2009 penny within an important chapter of British minting history, marking how tradition adapted to modern realities. Turn the coin over in your imagination, and you see the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. By 2009, the Queen had already reigned for over half a century, becoming a living symbol of continuity in a world that seemed to change faster every year. The effigy used on the 2009 penny was the fourth definitive portrait by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998. This portrait shows the Queen with remarkable realism, her features mature, dignified, and resolute. The fine details of her crown, the depth of her expression, and the precise engraving speak to the skill of the Royal Mint's artists. Surrounding the Queen's portrait is the familiar Latin inscription that has appeared on British coins for generations. These words are more than tradition, they are a declaration of monarchy, authority, and history stretching back hundreds of years. Every time this coin changed hands, it silently carried that message, connecting the modern citizen to centuries of British heritage. Now imagine flipping the coin to its reverse side. What you see is not just a design, but a revolution in British coinage. The 2009 1 penny features a portion of the royal shield, part of a larger design introduced in 2008 that spread the shield across multiple denominations. This was a bold move by the Royal Mint, breaking away from standalone designs and encouraging people to see the entire coin set as a unified work of art. The 1 penny shows the lower segment of the shield, a reminder that even the smallest denomination plays a vital role in completing the whole. This shield design symbolizes strength, unity, and national identity. In 2009, as Britain navigated economic uncertainty, this imagery carried subtle reassurance. It said that even in difficult times, the foundations remained strong. The penny, often dismissed as insignificant, was visually positioned as a cornerstone of the nation's symbolic shield. Millions of these coins were minted, and yet, not all 2009 pennies are created equal. This is where the story takes a thrilling turn. Within the vast production runs, certain coins emerged with subtle differences, minting anomalies, and rare characteristics that would later ignite intense interest among collectors. Slight variations in strike quality, alignment, thickness, and even metal composition became clues in a treasure hunt that would unfold years later. Some 2009 pennies were struck with exceptionally sharp details, far exceeding the average circulation quality. Others exhibited rare die errors, such as off-center strikes, weak rims, or unusual spacing in the lettering. A very small number were believed to have been struck during early test runs or transitional phases, making them extraordinarily rare. These coins were never intended to be special, Yet their imperfections and differences turned them into modern numismatic mysteries. Collectors began to notice. At first, it was a whisper on online forums, a quiet mention in coin clubs, a photograph shared between enthusiasts. Could a modern penny really be rare? Could something so common hold extraordinary value? As more people examined their coins, discoveries multiplied. Suddenly, jars of change were being poured out onto tables, magnifying glasses appeared, and the hunt was on. The condition of the coin became crucial. A 2009 penny in ordinary circulated condition might be worth little more than face value. But one preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, with original mint luster intact, smooth surfaces, and sharp edges, entered an entirely different realm. Certified examples graded at the highest levels became objects of intense desire, commanding astonishing prices. What truly elevated the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2009 into legendary status was the emergence of a handful of ultra-rare specimens believed to be unique, or nearly unique. These coins combined exceptional condition with rare minting characteristics, making them the ultimate prize for serious collectors. Stories circulated of collectors refusing to sell, of private offers being made behind closed doors, and of auction houses quietly preparing for record-breaking events. The appeal of this coin is not just about rarity, it is about relatability. Unlike ancient gold coins locked away in museums, the 2009 penny feels personal. People remember using it. They remember the year. Top 2. Today, the journey takes us into the modern era of British coinage, into a year that many people still remember clearly, yet few realize the hidden numismatic mystery it produced. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2014, a coin that appears ordinary at first glance, but slowly reveals itself as one of the most fascinating modern pennies ever struck. In 2014, the United Kingdom was living in a world defined by rapid change. Technology was reshaping communication, economies were adjusting after global financial challenges, and tradition stood side by side with modern innovation. Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history, was still a powerful symbol of continuity. Her portrait appeared on coins as it had for decades, quietly connecting generations. The 1 penny coin of 2014 was born into this era, produced not as a luxury collectible, but as a functional piece of everyday currency meant to pass through countless hands. Yet every coin carries a soul shaped by its time. The 2014 penny was struck at the Royal Mint, an institution with more than 1,000 years of history. Each strike echoed centuries of craftsmanship, discipline, and precision. Though millions of pennies were produced annually, not all coins were created equal. Subtle differences in minting processes, metal composition, die preparation, and quality control can turn an everyday coin into a rare treasure without anyone noticing at the time. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2014 features the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on its obverse, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait is widely admired for its realism and dignity, capturing the Queen in a mature and confident form. Her gaze is calm, steady, and timeless, reflecting stability in a fast-changing world. Around her portrait, the inscription reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, a Latin phrase meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. These words have appeared on British coins for generations, linking the 2014 penny to centuries of royal tradition. Turn the coin over, and the reverse tells a different story. The 2014 penny is part of the shield design introduced in 2008, where each denomination represents a section of the royal shield of arms. When all denominations are placed together, they form the complete shield, symbolizing unity across the United Kingdom. The 1 penny displays the lower left segment of the shield, bold and geometric, modern yet deeply rooted in heraldic tradition. The year, 2014, sits clearly beneath the design, quietly marking its place in history. At first glance, this coin seems common, almost invisible. Millions of people use similar pennies every day to pay for small items, donate to charity boxes, or leave behind as spare change. Most never pause to consider its details. But collectors know that rarity does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers. The metal composition of the 2014 one penny is steel coated with copper, a change introduced in 1992 to reduce production costs. While the coin appears copper, its steel core gives it magnetic properties, an important detail for collectors examining authenticity and variations. Even within this standardized composition, tiny deviations can occur. Differences in plating thickness, bonding quality, or striking pressure can produce coins that stand out under close inspection. What makes the Elizabeth II one penny 2014 especially intriguing to collectors is the existence of extremely rare minting anomalies. A small number of these coins were struck under unusual conditions, resulting in pieces with subtle but significant differences. Some show off center strikes where the design is slightly misaligned. Others display weak or double impressions, caused by worn or mispositioned dies. A few exceptional examples reveal incorrect planchets, where the coin was struck on a blank intended for another denomination or metal type. These errors are not flaws to collectors. They are fingerprints of the minting process, evidence of a moment when the machinery behaved differently, creating something unique. In numismatics, uniqueness is power. A coin that should not exist becomes instantly desirable. As word of these rare variants quietly spread through collector circles, interest in the 2014 penny began to grow. What was once ignored suddenly demanded attention. People started checking old change jars, drawers, and collections inherited from relatives. Magnifying glasses came out. Digital scales were used. Magnets tested cores. Each coin became a question: ordinary or extraordinary? Condition plays a crucial role in this story. Most pennies enter circulation and quickly show wear. Scratches, dents, and fading are common. But a small number of 2014 pennies survived in near-perfect condition, either set aside immediately or preserved by chance. Coins graded in mint state, especially those with errors or unusual features, exist in incredibly small numbers. These pristine survivors are the ones that set collectors' hearts racing. Collectors are drawn not only by rarity, but by narrative. The Elizabeth II one penny 2014 represents the final decade of the Queen's reign, a time when traditional coinage was already beginning to feel nostalgic. Cashless payments were rising, and the humble penny was slowly losing its place in everyday transactions. This context adds emotional weight. The coin becomes a symbol of a fading era, captured in metal. For serious collectors, authentication and grading are essential. Professional grading services examine the coin under high magnification, measure its weight and dimensions, analyze its metal composition, and assess its strike quality. When a 2014 penny receives a top grade, especially with a documented mint error, its value can increase dramatically. A certified label transforms a simple coin into an investment-grade artifact. Auction houses have played a key role in elevating the status of rare modern coins. In recent years, rare British pennies, once dismissed as too modern to matter, have achieved astonishing prices. When collectors realize that a coin combines modern relevance, royal history, rarity, and exceptional condition, competition becomes intense. Bidding wars erupt, driven by emotion, prestige, and the fear of missing out. The Elizabeth II one penny 2014 has quietly joined this elite group. While most examples remain worth face value, a handful stand far above the rest. These coins are not found easily. Top 3. This is the remarkable story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one penny 2000, a coin that traveled from everyday change to legendary status. At first glance, the 2001 penny appears ordinary. It looks like the pennies people dropped into jars, spent on bus fares, or ignored at the bottom of drawers. But history often hides in plain sight. This coin was born during a moment unlike any other in British history. The year 2000 was not just another date on the calendar, it symbolized continuity, transition, and the promise of a new era. Queen Elizabeth II, already one of the longest reigning monarchs in history, stood as a living bridge between centuries. The penny minted in her name that year carries that powerful symbolism within its metal. The obverse of the coin bears the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. Unlike earlier portraits, this depiction is mature, dignified, and realistic. Every detail matters. The fine lines of the Queen's expression, the calm authority in her gaze, and the subtle crown resting upon her head reflect decades of leadership. Around her portrait, the inscription reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2000. These words, meaning, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, connect the coin to centuries of British monarchy and tradition. The date 2000 stands proudly, marking the historic moment this coin entered circulation. Turn the coin over, and you see the crown portcullis with chains, a design by Christopher Ironside. This image is deeply rooted in British identity. The portcullis represents security, parliament, and the authority of the state. The crown above it reinforces the unity between monarchy and governance. Below it, the simple denomination, 1 penny, appears, almost humble in its presentation. There are no grand symbols of wealth here, only quiet strength and tradition. Yet collectors know that simplicity often hides rarity. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 was struck in copper-plated steel, a change from the older bronze composition used before 1992. This shift was driven by rising metal costs, but it also created a distinct feel and sound to the coin. Its weight, magnetic properties, and appearance separate it from earlier pennies. For most people, this change went unnoticed. For collectors, it became a crucial detail. Over time, subtle variations in plating thickness, strike quality, and minting precision began to emerge, creating versions of the coin that were never meant to be different, yet unmistakably are. The Royal Mint produced millions of pennies in the year 2000, but not all were created equal. Minting a coin is a process that relies on perfect timing, machinery calibration, and material consistency. During high-volume years like 2000, when demand for new coinage was immense, errors and anomalies could slip through. Slight off-center strikes, misaligned dies, weak strikes, doubled details, and plating flaws became possible. These are the kinds of imperfections collectors dream about, because they transform an ordinary coin into a unique artifact. Some Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 coins were discovered with unusual features, sharper than normal details, mirrored fields, or surfaces resembling proof coins despite being intended for circulation. Others showed striking errors so subtle they could only be seen under magnification. A few extremely rare specimens displayed wrong planchet errors or abnormal metal responses to magnets. Each discovery added another layer to the coin's growing legend. As the years passed, Britain changed. Old coins disappeared from circulation, replaced by new designs and denominations. The penny itself began to feel outdated in a digital world. People stopped paying attention to small change. Pennies were lost, discarded, or forgotten. But collectors were watching. Quietly, patiently, they began pulling the 2001 penny aside, examining it closely, comparing examples, and documenting variations. Online forums, auction houses, and private collections started whispering about certain specimens that stood apart from the rest. What truly elevated the Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 was its emotional and historical weight. Coins from millennium years carry a special aura. They mark a once-in-a-lifetime transition. Unlike coins from ordinary years, millennium coins symbolize endings and beginnings. They represent the last breath of the 20th century and the first step into the 21st. Collectors are drawn not just to metal, but to meaning, and this penny is overflowing with it. Condition plays a critical role in value. Most pennies from 2000 show wear, scratches, and dull surfaces from years of circulation. But a tiny number survived in near-perfect or flawless condition. Coins preserved in mint state, untouched by human hands, with full original luster and sharp details, are exceptionally rare. When combined with a unique minting anomaly, such a coin becomes priceless. These are the examples that spark bidding wars, whispered negotiations, and private sales far from public view. Another factor that fuels the fascination is scarcity through survival, not just production. While millions were minted, very few have survived in collectible condition, and even fewer possess the specific traits that elevate them to elite status. Collectors understand that rarity is not always about how many were made, but how many remain. Each year that passes, fewer examples survive, pushing demand higher and supply lower. Stories began to circulate of collectors discovering a single penny in an old jar, only to realize it was something extraordinary. Others inherited collections from relatives who never knew the value hidden within. Auction records started to reflect this growing interest. Prices climbed steadily, then suddenly jumped. What was once worth a few cents became worth hundreds, then thousands, then far more. Serious collectors and investors entered the scene, recognizing that modern coins with strong narratives could rival ancient rarities. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2000 became a symbol of modern numismatic potential. It proved that even in an age of mass production, true rarities could still exist. It challenged the idea that only gold or ancient coins hold value.